Hi, and welcome to an in-depth, behind-the-scenes look at the 2014 movie The Equalizer. The film starred Denzel Washington, Marton Csokas, Chloë Grace Moretz, and other stars. The Equalizer is based on the 1980s TV show that starred the British actor Edward Woodward. When the TV show was about to go into production, British actor Martin Shaw was offered the role, but declined it. I guess that would have been that he had had enough of action roles, having been in the TV show The Professionals for a number of years. In June 2010, it was announced that Russell Crowe was looking to bring The Equalizer to the big screen, directed by Paul Haggis, with Crowe attached to play Robert McCall. Also, Gerard Butler was considered for the lead role. But in December 2011, it was reported that Denzel Washington would star in the title role of the film version, to be financed by Sony Pictures Entertainment and Escape Artists. Director Antoine Fuqua came on board to direct on March 21, 2013, reuniting him with Washington after their successful collaboration on the 2001 Oscar-winning film Training Day. Filming began in June 2013 with the locations in Salisbury, Hamilton, Chelsea, Haverhill, Boston and Massachusetts. Harry Gregson Williams was hired to compose the music for the film. I highly recommend the 4K version of the movie, as I watched it twice on Blu-ray and then I watched the 4K version, and it was like watching it for the first time, as the Dolby Atmos soundtrack is incredible. Right from the start of the movie, you can clearly hear that it's a totally different experience. The film's budget was $55 million, and the worldwide gross takings were over $192 million. The watch worn by McCall is a Sunto Core All Black. However, the stopwatch display of the watch in the movie is not the same as in the actual Sunto Core, sold commercially, which combines an altimeter, barometer and compass with weather information. When asked if this was a special edition or custom-made watch for the movie, Sunto indicated that it was not, and that more likely the display on the watch was digitally altered for the movie during post-production. It's still available from Amazon and sells for around £90 or $114. It was well received by critics and fans, and a sequel was released in 2018. So let's now take a look at the locations and what they look like today. This is the opening shot in the movie, with a great view of Leonard P. Zakim Bunker Hill Bridge. It's the main entry-exit route into Boston, and is featured in several movies and television shows set there. The script originally had no backstory about Robert, so Denzel Washington contributed much to the character's background and backstory, including Robert having obsessive-compulsive disorder, OCD. In addition to his daily physical and fight training, before filming, Washington met and interviewed several real-life OCD sufferers in order to gain insights on how to play that disorder correctly. The Morris J. Tobin Memorial Bridge, formerly and still sometimes referred to as the Mystic River Bridge, or less often the Mystic Tobin Bridge, is a cantilever truss bridge that spans more than 2 miles, 3 kilometres, from Boston to Chelsea over the Mystic River in Massachusetts. The bridge is the largest in New England. It is operated by the Massachusetts Department of Transportation and carries US Route 1. It was built between 1948 and 1950 and opened to traffic on February 2nd, 1950, replacing the former Chelsea Street Bridge. The 36-foot 11-metre wide roadway has 3 lanes of traffic on each of the 2 levels, with northbound traffic on the lower level and southbound traffic on the upper level. We see this shot quite a few times in the movie from Robert McCall's house. Here we have the cafe that Robert visits throughout the movie. In real life, the shop is a business called Chelsea Floor Coverings, established in 1954. More than 20 carpenters worked tirelessly to transform the old retail counter into a dirty old-looking cafe located under the Tobin Bridge. Movie crews from the Equalizer were filming steadily for nearly 2 weeks in the front of the building, prior to stars like Denzel Washington arriving. Carpenters and painters busied themselves in creating the meticulously designed cafe called the Bridge Coffee Shop. Denzel Washington was on set for 2 weeks filming inside, which was enclosed sometimes with a big white tent to control lighting. A full movie set crew and control panel was set up on Cross Street and Chelsea Street. Police officers stopped the traffic frequently on Everett Avenue and Chestnut Street when filming was underway. Later on in the movie, Teddy Renson sends one of his henchmen into the cafe to eliminate Robert. A fight takes place with Robert killing him and then walking out of the cafe and taking photos of Teddy Renson and his henchmen. They then chase him under the Tobin Bridge and try to kill him. Here is where they would have chased him through this gate, and Teddy Renson finds the blood on the wall. This is under the bridge where the scene would have taken place. This is the store that he visits after getting off the bus. We don't see him go inside the store in this scene, but we see him coming out of it at the end of the movie. Now, what's great about this location is that it is literally just up the road from where his house is. Robert befriends Ralph to help him pass his qualification exam to be a security guard. During his training, Ralph wears a Foreigner World Tour t-shirt. The Foreigner song Urgent was used to promote the original television show The Equalizer in France. This place is used later in the movie when his home-marked colleagues have a team-building game of baseball. The baseball pitch has a great view of the Fore River Shipyard, which is used later in the movie. Ralph surprises everyone by turning up in his security guard uniform as he's passed the exam. I would think that both scenes were filmed together to save time and money, being at the same location. Robert and young Alina walking home when all of a sudden Slavy and his henchmen pull up in a car to confront her. The car would have been parked by the bus stop. This area is also used at the end of the movie when Alina gets off the bus to thank Robert for helping her. It must have been a great time for the local residents to have a feature film being filmed in the streets and to see Denzel Washington walking past their houses. Alina is hospitalised following a brutal beating by a pimp, and Robert finds out and goes and visits her. He then meets her friend Mandy while waiting in the corridor. We only get a shot of the entrance in the movie, but here it is. Here's what it looks like today. We get a quick aerial view of the Prudential Centre in Boston in one of the night scenes. We get a shot of Slavy turning up in his 2010 Mercedes-Benz SLS AMG, and being annoyed someone has taken his parking spot. Robert tracks down Slavy at his office and offers to pay $9,800 for Alina's freedom. Slavy refuses, dismissing McCall as impotent and old. McCall then kills Slavy and 4 of his men with skillful close combat efficiency by using the men's own weapons, various objects in the room, and his bare hands. Denzel Washington trained in martial arts for 3 to 4 months with stuntmen and Navy SEALs for the movie. This is where Robert lives in the movie. Again, we visit his house quite a few times throughout the movie. It must be pretty cool to see your house in a feature film and see Denzel Washington walk up to it. When Ralph withdraws his security guard application, he goes to work for his mother at the family restaurant. Robert decides to visit him, only to find that the restaurant has had a fire. Now in this scene we see Denzel Washington walk along the road towards the restaurant, but the scene is actually 2 different locations. If you notice, you can see the number on the building is 416. But as he enters the restaurant, it changes to 136. I guess they used this location first as they wanted a busier street for him to walk down, with lots of shops and people walking past. Very clever editing, and it took some working out. I'll show you the restaurant's actual location in the next chapter. So here is the location of the restaurant. As you can see, the street is completely different to the one he was walking along. After agreeing to help clean up after the fire, Robert and Ralph take a break at the back of the building. If you look, you can see a white house in the distance. Also notice the small canopy above Ralph. This is the house that you can see. This is the back of the restaurant where they would have been standing. The small canopy is still there. Teddy and the dirty cops meet with little Johnny Looney at the Boston Sand and Gravel Company. This same location was used in a scene from the 2010 movie The Town, starring Ben Affleck and Jeremy Renner. This is the small building they would have entered. Robert takes a visit to the pharmacist to get some bandages for the cut on his leg. We only see inside the shop as he walks through the door. This is the place on the outside where they filmed the scene. I wonder how many people realise it was used in the movie. Teddy and his henchmen decide to make a visit to Robert's house to eliminate him. Believing they have cornered him, they enter the bathroom only to find he's left the tap running on purpose. They then realise he's watching them from another location via remote cameras. Now as they drive away, they drive up the road and round the corner. And then the camera pans up to a house window where Robert has been watching them. Here is the house and the window he would have been looking out of. The shipyard where Robert destroys a container ship, Pushkin used to smuggle goods. Now this scene in 4K really shows how good HDR is, as the explosion is really bright and you almost need your sunglasses when it explodes. Fall River Shipyard has also appeared in multiple films. The climatic shootout from the 2006 film The Departed was filmed in the yard, and for the 2015 film The Finest Hours, sets were constructed at the yard along with a giant water tank. The place where Robert works used to be a former Lowe's store. Preparations for filming took place around June the 17th, 2013, with the film crew and security guards setting up camp in the car park. Filming took 3 to 4 weeks, doing different scenes for the movie. In one short scene, we see Ralph walk through a door to go to the outside plant area where Robert is working. Because it was a former Lowe's store, the greenhouse section was already there, so they decided to use it. This is the door where Ralph would have walked through. Teddy arrives at the store and takes his colleagues hostage. Now this part of the movie really shows off the Dolby Atmos soundtrack, as the bullets literally whiz around you from the left and right channels to the overheads. And when Robert appears with a nail gun and the music kicks in, it's a real standout scene. The nail gun used in the final scene is referred to as a tap nailer. It uses a .22 caliber blank to fire nails into steel and concrete on construction sites. Robert travels to Moscow and tricks Pushkin into electrocuting himself. Now the building they use is actually in Ipswich, Massachusetts. The estate holds various functions including weddings and corporate events. Well, thanks for watching, and why not consider subscribing to the channel? I've got many more locations to come. And thanks for all the kind comments, it really does inspire me to keep making the videos for you. And check out the home cinema shop, it's got some great items, the link is below. And now I'll leave you with the stills gallery. Enjoy your movies, bye.